Pero mejor no, ¿verdad? Yeah, he was going like that with the watermelon.
Después era ¿cuál es la otra? La martiniana, antes. Antes de la llorona. ¿La martiniana?
Todavía no empezamos.
¡Qué roble!
Segunda llamada. Tocamos todos los en un momento. Comenzamos.
Yo, my name is Casper. I'm from Little Village, Chicago. I'm an artist and I was involved in the Little Mexico Film Festival. The theme for 2011 is Invasion of Privacy.
Check it out.
Necesitamos crear más maestros con nuestra cultura para que así los niños se sientan cómodos y que alguien los entienda para poder sobresalir en lo que es la educación, porque necesitamos urgentemente envolvernos en eso. Necesitamos guiar a nuestros hijos decirles desde un principio, desde que están en primaria, que tienen que acudir a la universidad. Okay. El total somos arriba de 50 millones de latinos aquí en este país y solamente el 13% se gradúa de la universidad y ese es un nivel muy bajo.
Well, you know, it is, I would say, the invasion of privacy. I would say so far the Chicago Public Schools has kept pretty much a pretty good lid on it. There's a federal law that does not allow the Chicago Public Schools to disclose information regarding students. You know, throughout the years, we have had problems, especially with many of the parents. You know, when they enroll their children into the Chicago Public School system, naturally there's a lot of forms that you have to fill out. There's a lot of information that the Chicago Public Schools requires a family or a student to have on record. I would say that the Chicago Public has been pretty good regarding that. Unfortunately, you know, amongst the immigrant population, especially Mexicanos, there seems to be some reluctance in sharing some of that information. Fortunately or unfortunately, the way the federal funding comes to the Chicago Public Schools to be used, you know, throughout our communities requires disclosure of information. This is, I believe, I strongly feel that this is what sometimes prevents or creates an obstacle for a lot of our families and why we don't receive our fair share of funding because of the disclosure of information that's required by the federal government. Prime example is that free lunch form. When children receive that free lunch form at the beginning of the fall school semester and they have to take it at home, they ask for disclosure. You know, the entire family, the household, income, and many of the families are somewhat reluctant to disclose some of those things. But unfortunately, that's the only way the federal government, or the only formula the only government basically sees or wants to see to decide as to how much in dollars a community or a school receives.
And about 10 years ago, right after 9/11, the United States passed a bill which became law called the Patriot Act. That act provided measures which made it a lot easier for the government to get information from citizens and residents of the United States as well as elsewhere. So it made things like wiretapping a lot easier. It sort of took away the checks and balances when it comes to learning about people's personal information, all in the sake of protecting our country from terrorism and other acts of violence. In addition to that, we live in the most technological age that we've ever lived in, with cell phones and cameras on every cell phone, things like Facebook, even just being able to sit down and Google anyone and have a lot of person's information in a matter of seconds right at our hands, which had never really been the case before, at least not as easily. There's also been a big focus on cameras, either on the streets or inside of public buildings, right? In many respects, in certain parts of the country, certain large urban centers, almost every movement by somebody can be tracked by either a law enforcement agency or the federal government. So given all of these things that I just mentioned and the current state of affairs and the current environment that we're in with regards to trying to protect everyone, it's very easy for people's personal information to get out there. Not only that, like I said, if you walk out onto the street, certain parts of the street, there's cameras. And those cameras are being monitored in some huge central hub full of screens where people can basically see a lot of what is going on in different communities. You can even think about it from the scientific standpoint in terms of satellites, and just the idea that a camera from a satellite, right, thousands of miles away in the sky can narrow down to see a very detailed image of what's going on even in somebody's backyard. So with all that taking place, what are your opinions on privacy? Whether you think some of this has gone too far, or whether you think it's necessary for the protection of the people of this country. So let's just get your basic opinions on the theme, and then maybe we can have a little exchange back and forth, and also allow the audience members to pose questions or make comments on the theme as well.
Our rights are being invaded big time. And there was a time when the invaders would have to go to court and get a warrant to get information, not any longer, with the excuse that it's a national security and really excuse. And what we need to do is to get to take our government back, so the government work for us, not for the corporations, not for the big guys. And we hear that all this, anyway, when I say government, I'm about at all levels, at federal level, at state level, and local level too, and the laws being passed are, in many ways, to the satisfaction of those that are much well off than the rest of us. And that's how we need to start protecting our civil liberties, because our civil liberties have gone down the drain.
About 2 hours ago, I was driving with my wife and her family to the Chinese buffet just west of here, and I was thinking about this privacy thing, and I asked the family. I was like, well, you know, privacy. I mean, what does that mean to you? And my wife's mother, monolingual Spanish speaker, she had a wonderful definition. I was thinking about going on Webster's dictionary and getting the definition, but she said, in Spanish, she said, you know, the privacy is what belongs to you and only to you. She said, what belongs to you and only to you. And really, in today's society, you know, even when you're in the comfort of your home, and doing an everyday activity like watching TV, or surfing the internet, we are being watched and we are being tracked. And those things that we used to do in the home that were just, you know, we thought was just us, isn't necessarily the case anymore. You know, I don't know if you guys get these funny like advertising emails from different places, or if you're on Facebook, you get like different ads on Facebook now, or MySpace. You know how they have the ads? And it seems like those ads always, they're like talking about something that you want, or something that, you know, specific to you, right? Well, it's because your progress online is being tracked, right? So you know, the day after I changed my Facebook to say that I got married, and the day after I changed my Facebook to say that I was having a kid, the next day, I swear, or the next hour, there was advertisements for baby products, right? It's like, it was like that, you know?
Well, what do you guys do when privacy invaded you?
Privacy invaded you. If your privacy was invaded, what would you do?
I guess that depends on the context. For instance, how many, if I have a Facebook account, just like Mike said, it depends on how much information, personal information, you want to put out on Facebook. There's a school of thought that says, okay, Facebook, it's like living in a small village, but on the internet. That means that in a small village, everybody knows everybody. Everybody knows what the other people does for a living, what do they have for dinner, for breakfast. And that's pretty much what Facebook it's about now. Everybody knows what's going on with one another. The thing here is how much information do you want to submit? How much information do you want to share with the rest of the Facebook users? I guess that's really the issue.
I hope you enjoy the next sketch. They take over your mouth, scribble down truth and their lies, you little spies.
Okay, another big round of applause, everybody, for the Girl Scouts troop.
What inspired us was mostly racism and
how the media interpreted our neighborhood. So the main point of our movie or video was how negative people or news reporters were saying about our neighborhood. And when we researched about Little Village, all we found was negative.
The experience with everything was really inspiring to hear all everybody's opinion and stuff. And for us, it was a very great experience for to know about how we should defend ourselves and how we're not all bad people.
Let's get the young men and women up that produced this last film from the Chicago Park District. I believe it's Petrovsky Park, correct? All right.
The message we wanted to get across was that privacy, what does it really mean? Is it something that you have, or is it something you're given? Is it something that you try to have, or something you don't want to have? We tried to show you stuff that might have happened if we had cameras everywhere around the park, and they were watching us. They see everything we're doing, and there wouldn't be much fun to have at the park. We'd be watched. It wouldn't be like the park, it would be like a jail. So we'd be watched instead of having fun.
So once again, thank you very much for coming. This is turning into an annual event. It continues to need your support, continues to need organizers, people that want to help in putting the event together. If you know of folks that would want to sponsor the event, please let us know. Again, Arturo, lots of other people to name, Tag here, Dosha, Roberto, all of the sponsors. So Wes up there handling the lights, and all the young people that produce these short films. All right? Thank you very much. Be safe, everybody.
Thank you.